Welcome back, Endgame fam, Endgame baseball fam. We're not quite halfway through the week, but we're here as always on this fine Wednesday to kind of go over what's been taking place on the week, what's upcoming on the week, and of course, most importantly, to help you with your questions about your fantasy baseball teams to help you take home that W, or maybe just, increase your points in your categories or whatever type of league you're in. I know one thing I'm learning about fantasy baseball is there's all kinds of leagues. So whatever you need help with, we got you covered. And we're going to start with, I guess, some good news, which is always good to have good news. Players coming back from injury, which is always nice because they're not doing much for you when they're injured. We got Blake Snell, Ryan Pepio, and Kris Bryant coming off of IL. Let's start with Kris Bryant. I remember Kris Bryant back in college with the first BB Core bats, demolishing home runs at a ridiculous rate. And then I felt like he was good in the early days of his career, but looking the last few years, let's see, since 2021, has not even reached 20 home runs in a season. Has never hit 300 one time, I guess. So what's the expectations here for 32-year-old Kris Bryant, who really hasn't been all that good recently anyways?
Not much. Not much. And look, he's a headliner. He's still got that name value. Of course, Cubs fans will always remember him. But ever since he's left Chicago, we've seen not much from him. And ever since he's been to Colorado, which you thought would be a great hitting environment, it hasn't. And I don't think it has anything to do with that. But look, I honestly feel like it's been 5 years since I kind of said, yeah, I'm out on Kris Bryant. I don't expect a comeback. I don't expect a whole lot. But it feels like he's one of those players that maybe less so this year, just because, again, he's missed so much time with injury and really hasn't done much recently for people to remember. Still feel like there's people kind of hoping for a comeback or thinking, yeah, he can do it again if he stays healthy. But to me, it's not even about just the health. I mean, that's obviously a big thing, right? You miss so many games, you always have something. And for him, especially when it's something like the back, it's not just that. I mean, honestly, I think he's one of those players who kind of peaked at an early age. You typically think for a hitter, like the prime age is like 26 to 28. It's around that range. And he came out of the gate, obviously rookie was great. Second season was his best. I mean, it was amazing. That was it. That was his peak, his second season of his career. And that was, we're getting to be like 8 years ago. So I will just say this. It's always worth speculating on whether he does kind of have a little bounce back, maybe, at least can have a hot week or two. But look, right now I checked and I wonder how many people have stashed him, how many people are interested. Not much. It's 10%. He's 10% rostered on Yahoo right now, and he's off IL. He's not technically injured right now. He just came back. His first game back went, I think, 0 for 4. All right, that's whatever. That's one game. We'll see if he knocks the rust off. But I'll just say this: I don't want people to go in here and start getting excited about Kris Bryant again, because I really don't think it's going to be very helpful in the long run. Even if he does stay healthy, no, it's been way too long since we could actually find a reason to buy into Kris Bryant for fantasy.
Okay, so maybe, but probably not. But let's talk about a couple pitchers coming back, and let's start with the reigning Cy Young winner, Blake Snell, who is now a San Francisco Giant, is returning from injury. He's made 4 starts this year. He's yet to go over 4 2/3 innings in any start. He's given up 3 or more earned runs in every start, 5 or more in 2 starts. He currently sports a 11.57 ERA and a 1.97 WHIP, and is barely averaging a strikeout per inning. But he won the Cy Young last year, and he was great. So, are you feeling better about Blake Snell's return, that he can return to form of what we saw from Blake Snell last year or for his career? Or is it going to be more of the same, more struggles?
Well, I don't want to come off as a hater, but this is another bet I'm going to warn against. I'll say, look, if you drafted Snell, obviously, you're expecting something close to what you got last year. Maybe not as dominant, maybe not Cy Young or whatever, but he went to what should be a better situation in terms of, for pitching, San Francisco, right? It's the best park you can have for a pitcher. Not that Giants are a great team, but look, San Diego last year wasn't good. So it's not like he's getting a big downgrade here or anything like that. So I will just say this, didn't draft Blake Snell anywhere. And, I played in a lot of leagues and kind of warned against him in some of my preseason videos. Now, it's easy to say, look, his ERA is terrible. Well, he only pitched 3 starts, right? It was 3 games, and then he got hurt. So maybe he was being bothered by something before that. Who knows, right? So let's throw out this year's stats so far because it's just an insanely small sample from a long time ago. But I still have my concerns because Snell is always a guy who lives on the edge, right? The razor's edge. His whip, even for somebody who was a Cy Young winner last year, his whip is not great because he still walks so many guys, right? He depends on the strikeouts. He's one of those guys, like when he's good, right? He can just be flat out dominant. But when he's not good, he's really not good. So he can look terrible as he has so far in his early Giants career. So be very with Blake Snell so far, be very careful. First, putting him in your lineup right after injury, I'd be a little cautious going forward. And I said this even the beginning of this season. If you get a chance to sell, move off of him because somebody believes in the reigning Cy Young winner and becoming an ace for their staff, let him go.
All right. There you go. Don't be afraid to move on from him if you can. Let's talk about one more pitcher coming back. I think you might be a little more interested in. We'll find out here. Ryan Pepiot. He's actually been pretty good this year prior to getting hurt. He's appeared in 7 games. Sporting a 3.68 ERA, not bad, but a very nice 0.93 whip. And he also has 41 strikeouts over 36 innings. Only 3 wins, which is surprising. The Rays have obviously not played up to expectations as far as win-loss goes. But is this a guy who you think can keep it going and can be a solid contributor for your fantasy team now coming back from injury?
Definitely. And it's not just aging here, right? You might call me ageist because I'm railing against the veterans there. Pepiot right here, right now, is a good pitcher. And again, keeping the whip low, that is nice. You always have to worry a little bit with the Rays as far as how many innings are they going to let him go, especially a young pitcher, somebody who is now coming off an injury. But he actually just pitched tonight. Not too far, 4 innings, 3 runs. Not dominant, right? 4 walks. So his outing today actually wasn't great, but that again to me just says that this is a possible buy low.
All right. The dogs agree. Dogs are going wild tonight. All right, so let's move on from some players and let's go to some teams that are starting to heat up. Now, we've seen this, of course. This is, baseball is a marathon. We see teams go hot and cold. Cardinals are actually heating up. They've won 7 of the last 10. They just beat the Orioles. I guess their guys are starting to hit. I guess when you're not hitting at all, hitting a little bit feels pretty good. Like Paul Goldschmidt is not continuing to give me offers every single night. He actually gets a hit every now and then, and maybe slaps a home run if I'm lucky. So is this something we can start paying attention to and say maybe we need to take a look at this Cardinals offense or even maybe some of the pitchers? Or is it we've seen this before, they're still not very good?
I honestly really feel like this Cardinals offense is kind of similar to the Marlins from this past weekend. Remember, they won 4 in a row, and wow, look, they scored some runs against the Mets. And then reality sinks back in. It's still not a good lineup. I mean, it really should be better. Obviously, Goldschmidt and Arenado and a couple of those guys should really be doing better. But look at the guys who are hitting now. Alec Burleson. A lot of people heard talking about, I mean, he's got this great hitting streak going. He's got his average over 300. Look, this is not a big offensive threat. This is a guy I think who's hot right now. But they really have kept him in the lineup because their other outfielders were so bad. They got demoted to the minors. And because he's a good fielder. So look, props to him for having a good week. But I'm not rushing out to pick up Burleson. And then like Lars Nootbaar, right? This is a guy who I know a lot of people like. Right now, he's, as you call, he looks like a StatCast hero. Like, oh man, look at all the red. But then you have to look at the box score. Yeah. Well, what is he really giving you? Like, what is his actual production? At some point, yeah, like, okay, these things even out, but not always. So, like, what are his actual stats right now? I mean, they're okay, but it's not like I don't think he's going to carry your team. He's more of a power over hit tool kind of guy. And I'm kind of surprised because he's hitting not really for average right now, but he looks like he should be hitting for a lot, high in average. But 5 home runs so far, it's kind of underwhelming. I mean, he's really kind of underwhelming on the whole.
Yeah, I did just add Lars Nootbaar, StatCast hero. It would be nice if we were in a StatCast league. I'd probably be crushing everybody, but yeah, it's like, how long can you wait around for the numbers to catch up to StatCast? I mean, he's fine, I guess, as a bench stash, but
yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's not streamable. Like, you can pick him up and if he's hitting well and this offense is hitting well, but I'm not I think some people are like, all in, like, this is it. He's going to break out, like just waiting for it to happen. I'm not really holding out much hope for that. I think he's streamable. I think the one guy who I feel a little bit better about is Nolan Gorman. I mean, he was completely cold to start the season. He has legit power. And he actually hit a home run off a lefty the other day, which is notable because he usually doesn't do well against lefties. He's a guy that when he is hot, he's really hot and he's worth playing. But then, again, the downs are very down. So I'd be ready to jump off as soon as he isn't. But Gorman's the guy I would say I'd be most interested in, especially if you do need a replacement right now. There's somebody asking about Xander Bogaerts. That might be a great replacement because if he was your second baseman and Gorman qualifies as second, that seems like a natural pivot right now.
All right, there you go. And now let's talk about a team not trending in the right direction. The Rangers have only won 2 games in their last 10, and it's mostly because of pitching. They're currently 18th in team ERA, and they have the worst bullpen ERA at 5.15. Now, the young guys, Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford, have also been duds, and I don't think Corey Seager has quite been what we've wanted him to be completely yet. But this is a team I think we probably feel will right the ship at some point, or do we?
I do think, yes, eventually. As far as the pitching, I mean, we got a ways to go. I mean, obviously, DeGrom, who knows? If it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of if. If he is ready to pitch, I mean, you would think, but maybe August. Scherzer, I mean, look, don't hold your breath for those guys anytime soon. Cody Bradford just had a setback. He's not coming back anytime soon. He was great early on. Yeah, just so many injuries. I mean, not just the ones already we knew about with Scherzer and DeGrom, and then Bradford was an early season kind of thing, and then Eovaldi gets hurt. It's like it's brutal. It's really rough. But look, this happens when you have a veteran team that goes deep in the postseason. Sometimes there's a bit of not just a hangover in terms of motivation. I don't think that's the issue. Just the physical toll it takes, right? Being out there and playing so many extra games. Baseball's a long season already, and then when you play like basically a month more than some other teams, yeah, you get a shorter time for recovery. So it's the bullpen is the real issue, though. Here is that's why they're losing games, because they just do not have that guy, not just in the 9th inning, but I mean, nobody's really been dependable. Even the guys who were dependable last year haven't been this year. They haven't got help from guys like Jack Leiter, I thought would be good, and for some reason just is not taken well to the majors. So yeah, it's been rough on the pitching front. I would just say, as far as the hitters, don't worry about Seager. He'll be fine. Adolis has been fine. Semien is fine. Those guys in the top of the lineup, don't worry. They'll turn out fine at the end of the year. The bottom of the order has not done any favors. And I think so far, out of the maybe missed calls. I had the biggest L I'm taking right now is Evan Carter. He's just, man, he's droppable at this point. And people are asking, do I have to hold him? No, you really don't.
All right, there we go. So I think that's pretty much catches us up on most of what's been happening this week. Again, we're here to help you out with your questions for the upcoming week. And also, let me remind you, if you haven't tried Underdog Fantasy yet, if you're checking out the channel for the first time, or maybe you, I don't know, hearing about this for the first time, or maybe you're still kind of on the fence, no better time than now to try it out, because not only are you going to get the baseball pick'ems here, another way to get your fantasy football or your fantasy baseball fix, but if you sign up for the first time and use promo code Endgame, they're going to give you a free pick. That's an instant win right off the bat, plus up to $250 in bonus cash that you can use right away on Underdog Fantasy. And even if you're like, well, I don't know about picks, I think my baseball leagues are enough. If you like football, they got football drafts going on right now, best ball drafts, and it's only going to ramp up as the season goes. Plus, they have other sports if you want to check it out: NBA, WNBA, golf, NHL, MMA, everything basically. So check it out. Go to underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you sign up using promo code Endgame. Take advantage of that special pick and the deposit bonus up to $250. All right. We're going to get to your questions. We started late tonight. We don't have a lot of questions right now, but they're coming in slowly but surely. So you mentioned this briefly. G did just lose Xander Bogaerts. Some speculation it may be a long stint on the injury list. We will see. So other than Gorman, who I don't know if he's available in most leagues, who are some underrated shortstops that might still be? Look, Francisco Lindor might be on a lot of waiver wires out there. Actually, he's not, because Yahoo won't let you cut him. But just an idea. any shortstops to take a look at?
You're tempted, right? I know you're tempted, but
very tempted.
Keep the patience there. I feel you here, G, because I have Bogaerts in a couple of leagues, and I've been searching for replacements myself. So I can tell you now. Interesting to note with Bogaerts, because even though always has been a shortstop this year, qualifies second and short, I had him at second base in those leagues. So I've been looking and hunting for replacements at second base. But you need a shortstop, underrated. Well, I'll say right now, again, this is just I'm not expecting some sort of massive breakout or anything, but I did pick up Otto Lopez, Marlins, in our Endgame league. And I'm playing him right now. So we'll see. I mean, look, swinging a hot bat. I really have more interest in Vidal Brujan, but again, this is for second base because he has great speed, but Marlins aren't running nearly as much now without Mattingly, and he hasn't hit, nearly as well. But Otto Lopez is somebody you can take a look at. Kevin Newman had been hot. I think he's starting to slow down, but again, he's somebody who had been swinging a hot bat. His time will be a little bit limited too, though, because Perdomo will probably be back kind of soon. So those are probably the two that pop to mind right now, Newman and Lopez. I will say that I noticed that Carlos Correa is still available in almost 40% of Yahoo leagues. Look, I know he's been disappointing, but he's starting to heat up a little bit. He's still got some power in there. No speed, but still, this is a veteran that rather than some sort of random streamer, you could always, take a chance on Correa getting some power back. So if he's available, I think I still would probably say he's my first choice. And then very risky, but if you're really deep / desperate, Nick Gonzalez, remember, was once a high-end prospect for the Pirates, has never really stuck. Giving him a shot again. Got a couple of hits, so we'll see. We'll see if he can keep it, together for a sustained period of time. But those are probably the ones that, again, at this point, you're desperate, you're looking for somebody underrated. Those are probably the top picks.
All right, good luck with that. Always tough to replace a guy like Bogaerts for sure, especially this time of the year. What about replacing a guy like Julio Rodriguez, who continues to either do nothing or slap singles? Is this enough, though, for Julio Rodriguez? Michael Harris and Teoscar Hernandez. You now have had about a week or about 2 weeks, I think, or week and a half of Julio Rodriguez. You now feel the pain of Julio Rodriguez. If this trade is offered to you, are you taking it or not?
I think this is close. I think this is actually fair because look, Michael Harris, again, look, he's not that far off from Julio because this is a top 50 drafted player. In the most part, you expect, help in every category, and he's been disappointing, right? He hasn't had a great start to the season. Teoscar had an amazing first couple of weeks, and he's settling down a little bit, but he's driving in a lot of runs. I think you're getting comparable value here. I think you could make a case for either side. I think it kind of depends on your team needs and where you are in the standings. If you're a team that's maybe got a little cushion, or at least you're just looking for some more upside to help you. Maybe you have too many outfielders. I would hope if you're trading 2 for 1 that you can put Julio in there and you're still okay. I think I don't mind taking on Julio. Obviously, I did it, right? I'm expecting that second half breakout. It's going to happen. So I think this could go either way, to be honest. I think it depends on team need. But if you're looking to trade away Julio to get these 2, I'm not going to stop you.
All right, there you go. Fair trade. So if you're tired of the offers and then hey, he went 3 for 5 and he got you no counting stats, go ahead, take them off. I don't have any Julio bitterness at all. All right, Furless, what's up? He needs to pick up 2. Mackenzie Gore, who you redropped for me, by the way. Thank you. I got a nice start from Mackenzie Gore. Chris Paddock, Alec Marsh, Zach Little, Christian Scott, Ryan Weathers, Nick Lodolo. It's 5x5 head-to-head. So he wants to pick up 2 of these guys.
Only 2. Okay. Yeah, I might regret dropping Gore again. I'm not sure. I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Gore. I think I was a little worried about the schedule this week, maybe, and I thought I could get him back. But anyways. Let's see. Okay, when Lodolo has been hurt, I don't know if he's set to come back right away, but I'm going to kind of just put him at the end here because I wouldn't take a chance on him over these guys, even if Lodolo does come back. I'm not sure his status right now. Littell, he's fine. He's just okay to me. He's becoming a little too. He's becoming like basically every other Rays pitcher this year, just very meh. So I'm gonna push him down. Alec Marsh has been solid, but honestly doesn't interest me as much as these other guys. So those are my last 3. I'm gonna stick Weathers kind of in the middle. I don't like him as much as the others. As he's been good lately, but he's more risky. So I would say my top 2 would probably be the first 2 you mentioned, Gore and Paddock. I think they just have the best stuff. I like Scott. But I'm going to put him 3rd. But I think it's Gore, then Paddock, then Scott, and then Weathers would be my first 4 in order.
All right, there you go. Good luck, Verlis. Go get him. Now I'm a little confused. Like the Julio one I got, this one I'm a little confused of. Tim wants to know also, should he try to trade Cronenworth, or is he worth playing the rest of the way? I feel like he's been mostly good all year. Like he's just one guy I've just had in my lineup ever since I picked him up. Honestly, he's just been in my lineup, but I've never taken him out. But is it time to trade him?
No, I mean he's solid. He continues to be solid. In fact, just this last week he has 6 RBIs. I mean that's what you're getting from him, right? Is he's going to be a steady RBI contributor. His average is good, not great, but it definitely doesn't hurt you. Home runs, okay, not going to be amazing, but he's still getting you some home runs. But yeah, he's getting you those RBIs. I don't think he's kind of one of those guys his value is never going to fluctuate that much, right? Nobody's going to confuse him for like a superstar player, but he's also not waiver wire fodder. Like he should be owned pretty much everywhere. So yeah, worth playing the rest of the way.
All right, yeah. Not one of the guys I was worried about, that's for sure. Buy with Burdell, what's up? His relievers in a 12-team save and holds league are Mason Miller, Jordan Romano. Sorry to hear that. Tyler Scott, I don't know who Jax is. Kloss and Holderman. So if you're going to try to trade one of these guys, which one would you be looking to trade?
Who to trade? Okay. Saves and holds category league. I would say the guy I'm not going to trade is Mason Miller. In fact, I just talked about Mason Miller on the Buy Low video. So that tells you what I think about Mason Miller. And then, which is, of course, ironic. This is funny. We have to talk about it. You guys are on here. You probably already watched that video, the Buy Low video. Made a big, long point about how you panicked about Mason Miller because he didn't have a single save in the month of May. Because I did that video about 30 minutes before the end of the Oakland A's game late on the West Coast, where he, of course, picked up a save. So, yep. But it took him 3 weeks to get a save. Anyways, Mason Miller's fine. Keep Mason Miller. Kloss is your solid, no doubt save, go-to closer. Don't worry about him. Keep him. I don't know what Scott's value is right now, but I think you would want to try to trade him. Jax, he's not really the closer, is he? He's like the semi sort of closer. I'm not giving up on Duran. I would say try to flip one of those guys, Scott or Jax.
All right, there you go. Flip Scott or Jax. And then Unknown Screwdriver, what's up? He wants to know if you should try to trade Cole Reagans for a hitter. So now his main guys are Crochet, Luzardo, Mitch Keller, and Pepio. Now, if you remember way back, I think it was week 1 or week 2, very early in the season, he traded for Kyle Tucker. I don't know if you remember that. Now, then he traded Kyle Tucker away for Reagans and Keller, which he said he doesn't think was that smart, but he's been winning. So now maybe should he trade Reagans for Kyle Tucker? Well, he wants to trade Reagans for a hitter. What do you think?
I mean, if you can get Kyle Tucker back, which I doubt. No, I'd rather have Reagans. I mean, look, you gave up the guy who just right now happens to be leading the majors in home runs. Okay. I mean, Tucker's a stud. You knew that, right? It's not like all of a sudden we're like, hey, who's this Kyle Tucker? No, you knew he was a stud, right? You got two guys. Look, I love Reagans. I don't love Keller. That's no secret. I've always said this, right? I'm in on Reagans. I'm not on Keller. So I would say no. Keep Reagans. I think it's so valuable having, and honestly, the rest of your pitchers, your main guys, I like Crochet. Luzardo, like even better when he gets traded. And I like Pepio. I still don't like Mitch Keller. So I would say trade Mitch Keller to get a hitter. You're not going to get as good a hitter, but I would still try to do it.
All right, keep Reagans. Try to trade Keller. Don't worry, we all make trades we regret. All right, Stuart Jimenez, what's up? Wants to know, should I trade Michael Harris? Is this Michael Harris for Austin Riley? Are we trading Braves here? Or is he saying, should he trade Michael Harris plus Austin Riley?
Like 1-to-1 swapping Braves hitters? Well, if you're asking who I'd rather have, I think I'd still rather have Riley. This is interesting because you're talking about guys who have slightly different skill sets and profiles. I mean, you're looking for power, you're looking for speed. But overall, look, both guys have really kind of underachieved. In fact, at this point, is there a single Braves hitter other than maybe Ozzie Albies? And I guess technically Travis d'Arnaud that we can say hasn't underachieved this year based on expectations. So I would still say I'd rather have Austin Riley.
He said he's a little afraid because Riley hasn't played in a while.
But this is exactly why last week, the Buy Low video just came out today. Last week in the Buy Low, Austin Riley. Why? Because of exactly this. You're worried about Riley. He hasn't played. Is something up? It's, as far as I know, unless something weird comes out. And look, I don't want to be, liable here. Like tomorrow, they're like, oh, we discovered that there's some fracture. And no. Okay. As far as I know, there's nothing majorly wrong with Riley. Otherwise, they would have said so by now, right? They would have put him on IL and said he's out for a while. So assuming it's nothing major, at last I heard it was just like some inflammation. then I'd say this presents a buy low. And, I don't even think Harris, you're not really buying that low. I think it's pretty fair. I mean, Riley was drafted before Harris, for the most part, but I think that's fine. I wouldn't worry about Albies. Tim is saying he's worried about Albies. He's probably the one Brave I'd be least worried about.
All right, there you go. Pull the trigger. I know a Screwdriver following up there. He did just get an offer. Somebody just sent him an offer. CJ Abrams and Ronel Blanco for Reagans. Is that enough for you to pull the trigger?
No, that's an interesting trade because now we're talking about a hitter who, again, top 50 draft pick, should be fantasy stud. Now, Abrams, I think, and I haven't talked about him, I think this might be getting to the time where you're buying low. It looks like you are buying low. Now, Blanco is interesting because, we talked about him last week. He's still waiting for that suspension to end, right? So once he comes back, is he going to be the same guy? Or is he going to look different without the sticky stuff? You got to wonder. Or is he just going to keep doing it and wait till he gets caught again? That's also very possible. That's probably what's going to happen, right? It's not like he's going to stop doing it altogether. Man. I hate to give up Reagans, but for Abrams, I do think you need to do that because you are getting a pitcher. I think it's worth a shot here. I think I would do that.
All right. Well, there you go. You got a good offer. Go ahead and take it. All right. We got Cale Altman. He's got Kershaw, Yoshida, Jung, and Tyler Baz all on the IL, and he only has 4 IL slots. And now, Xander Bogaerts, of course, just went on the 10-day IL. So, if this is your team, are you dropping any of those 4 guys, or are you just wasting a roster spot on a guy who's on the IL but can't be put on the IL on your fantasy team?
And first of all, Cale, I feel your pain. I know there's one league where I have so many injured players that my IL spot's already full, and I have 3 guys that are just on my bench injured, like on the IL. And I don't want to drop them because they're actually good players. So I will say this. Unfortunately, Josh Jung, he's a player I do have in a couple leagues. He is not coming back real soon. In fact, they just said he had some sort of a setback, which is not what you want to hear. But I think I'm holding on to him because you're getting him in the second half. Still going to be valuable. Yoshida shouldn't be that long, much longer on the IL. Baz, you've been holding him. You've been waiting for him. Honestly, I'm dropping Kershaw because when he comes back, look, Clayton Kershaw, great career. Great pitcher, Hall of Fame, all that. That was a long time ago, right? That he was dominant. And when he comes back, he's going to be 3 innings, 4 innings? If we're lucky, we get to see him actually get a win because he pitches 5 innings. It's not going to be worth it. So I'm dropping Kershaw.
All right, there you go. Drop Kershaw. All right, LSD just traded Jazz Chisholm. Man. For Randy Rosarena and Paul Goldschmidt. Do you think these guys will play like themselves soon?
So, interesting trade. We're buying a dip ×2, right? These are 2 buy lows in one. I like it. I like the deal. Look, if we think preseason expectations, let's pretend that, April and May didn't exist. From here on out, what are we expecting from Rosarena? He should be more valuable, at least equal, if not more valuable than Jazz, straight up. If Goldschmidt is even like half of what he was last year, then he's at least startable at first base. So this could be a very big upgrade for you. This could be a great deal. Now, what if Rosarena just isn't the same? What if he does, hit 230 the rest of the way? You're still not taking that big a hit because he is stealing bases. In fact, offhand, I want to say he probably has more steals than Jazz. I don't really remember, and then he should hit for power. So I think this is a good deal for you. And yes, I do think for the most part they'll play like themselves.
Yes, let's hope. All right, unknown Screwdriver again. Paul Goldschmidt, Lars Bootbar. I like that name better than New Bar. Lars Bootbar. Reminds me of like a country line dancing bar or something. Tommy Pham and Justin Turner are on the waiver wire. He needs somebody for his utility spot. Which one of these guys you want?
Well, I mean, I think any of them could be serviceable. Turner was the only Blue Jay who was actually hitting well to start the season, and now that's kind of gone out the window too. Man, for right now, I can't put Tommy Pham over those guys. I just can't. I think I'm going to pick up Goldie and just hope that he winds up being, mostly himself the rest of the year. I think you got to still go with Goldschmidt because it's not like any of these other guys are lights out. Pham was hot, but let's remember he's on the White Sox, unless you really, really need speed, but it's not like he's stealing that many bases. So I'm going to go Goldie.
All right, go get Goldschmidt. And now we haven't had our weekly Gleyber Torres question yet, but Al bringing our semi-weekly Corbin Carroll question. He just wants to hear anything encouraging about Corbin Carroll. Just do any glimmer of hope. And what could he even get? Is it even worth trying to trade this guy right now? Are you getting anything in return?
Well, you could get Gleyber Torres. I don't know. Yeah, it's not good. Honestly, I wish I could point to something because at least in the beginning of the season, you're like, well, at least he got me a few steals, and then now he's not even doing that. In fact, just kind of looking here. In fact, in the month of May, which I believe we're now 3 weeks into May, he has not stolen a base. So that's not good. And his batting average is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. He was good last year.
What's going on? Was last year just a fluke? What's going on here? He's so bad.
Honestly, it's got to be something physical. And there was a shoulder injury last year, threw him off. The power dipped a little bit, but we didn't hear anything preseason. Didn't have any signs that there was something. There's got to be something else going on. So honestly, at this point, it wouldn't shock me if we hear pretty soon that, something's bothering him. They're going to put him on the IL. This might just be a sell low candidate. I hate to go there right now, but look, you don't want to also just drop a guy like this and get nothing for him. So what could you ask for him? Yeah, maybe like a bag of baseballs, one of those, when you get baseball cards, they probably don't do this anymore. I mean, I almost guarantee they don't, but that stick of gum that comes in the pack that is
best.
Harder than a rock and not chewable. Maybe you can get a stick of gum for him.
Yeah. Who thought of that? Who's like, let's put a stick of gum in baseball card packs and it'll just sit there for months. And get all stale.
They're very much not airtight seal, like the thing that's already loose and you just open it and it's there.
Yes. All right, Tim has another trade question. Edwin Diaz, is that Doval
or Camilo Doval? And a
slight improvement to another position. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means, but okay.
I guess Doval plus something like a bench player or like a marginally better player. Sure. Because I like Doval. Honestly, Doval to me was one of those closers that I said preseason, I did a My Guys video, I'm going to draft over and over again. Instead of pulling the trigger super early on Hader and Edwin Diaz and those closers, which I know easy to say right now, it looks brilliant, but I just didn't want to spend a very early pick on a closer, but I still want a lockdown closer. I was like, I'm just going to go with Doval. He feels safe to me. Good situation. He's solid. Even if Edwin Diaz comes back and it's Edwin Diaz, that from 2 years ago, it's not that big an upgrade over Doval. I will take Doval +1.
All right, there you go, Tim. And Tim was a fan of that gum. Said it was good.
Nostalgia can play tricks on our minds, sir.
Definitely. All right. Looks like we are all caught up on the chats tonight. Kind of a light night, but we did get off to a later start today, and it is a Wednesday. So we are kind of getting into the dog days of summer here, right? Where the excitement of the beginning of the season is kind of wearing down, and now it's becoming like, I don't want to call it monotonous because it's not monotonous, but we're not quite the playoff time yet, right? So the excitement doesn't quite get there. We see the same thing in fantasy football as well. The middle of the season kind of dips a little bit, and then everybody's like, oh, playoffs are coming up. Okay, I need help again. So, but we do appreciate all of you who were on here with us, of course, all of you who are watching the videos, subscribe, everything. We really do appreciate it, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this at all. I mean, we could, but we'd be talking to each other. So we can do that offline if we want to. We don't have to be on YouTube. So we appreciate you all for that. One more reminder before we get out of here. If you haven't tried it yet, you can still get on Underdog Fantasy. There are games tonight still. You can go, hey, you believe in the Kris Bryant comeback? Go put a pick on him. If you don't believe in him, go put a lower pick on him. There's all sorts of picks for Kris Bryant right there. You can see. Just make sure when you do go to Underdog Fantasy, if you're joining for the first time, use promo code Endgame when you sign up. That way you'll get that special pick, a special free pick that you can pair with a Kris Bryant pick if you want to. And you also get that first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash that you can use right away. And don't forget, we will be back here on don't forget, obviously, yes, smash the like. Thank you. Don't forget, we got waiver wire coming out on Friday. I think we're going to have a new video for you guys this weekend. So check that out. That'll be fun. Maybe. Pierre give me the look like, don't commit me to anything.
No, it's like you should be intrigued right now. Look, yeah, yes, yeah, we're gonna. And of course,
we'll be back here Sunday to get you ready for the week ahead and talk about everything that went down this week. So make sure you check that out. Of course, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and we'll see you back here on Sunday.